Apparently, we are ready to roll. So once again, Dean from Untraceable Fishing, here tonight with
Jared from Bulawayo Fishing Tackle.
and welcome to
Tackle Tuesdays.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fishers and fisherinas, whatever you want to call them. So tonight we're going to be looking at the world of flatfish, skates, rays, sand sharks. So pretty much covers everything that is flatfish. Jared and I both enjoy fishing for a flatfish from now and again.
Yeah.
And it is the summer months coming, which means it is flatfish season. The flatfish are coming in shallow. They're coming out off the reefs and stuff, deep sea, and they are coming to breed and stuff like that. So the population of flatfish, especially in the Eastern Cape, is quite hyped up and quite going at the moment. Now, obviously, as you do get your normal fish, you get a lot of different categories of flatfish, different size flatfish, big flatfish, small flatfish, some hardcore flatfish out there. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to break down pretty much the terminal tackle and tackle you will use to target all your different species of flatfish. I know there are different flatfish throughout the country, but I think most of the country, your sand sharks, the lesser sand sharks. When it gets in Natal, they get the giant sand shark. We'll talk about that a bit. Your what we call blue rays, marble rays. So those are your smaller flatties. Then you go into your medium-sized flatties. You start getting your bigger eagle rays. You're looking at your smaller diamonds, your bigger duckbills, or your bigger medium-sized duckbills.
Yes.
And then from there on, you get your massive big rays.
Yeah, your sawn tails, your black rays, your spear noses,
pale stat.
Yes.
Yeah, so your really big rays. So what we've done is divided the segment into 3 different applications, pretty much a light, a medium, and a extra heavy setup. What we'd use to target the different rays. So for those of you who haven't caught flatfish, I know everyone's like, flatfish are hell of a fun to catch. I know, Jared, I really enjoy them. They pull really hard. Yes, you can't take them home and eat, but a lot of fun.
Yes, especially I think you and I have seen lately with Fishing League, when they come onto the coast, you can get them in quite a big range of numbers. It's not like you might only get one on the day. They can come in quite a large shoal almost, so you can have good fun for most of the day.
And nice thing about fishing for your flatfish, especially your sand sharks and your blue rays and things like that, you do not have to be an elite angler where you have to cast 100 meters with big baits and things like that. You can fish simple. You can throw into waist deep water and you're going to get fish.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about big wading. You can pretty much stand on the sand, throw into a sandbank, knee deep water, waist deep water, and I promise you those fish are there. When we're wading, sometimes we see them sitting, see them on the way out. So they're not sitting always off the back of the lip.
Yes.
So quite comfortable for everyone to catch. So let's start on the lighter side of things. If I was going down, Jared going down, we're going to go target. We're going to look for a sand shark. We're going to go for a small little blue ray, and even your younger eagles. The type of tackle we'll be using, which are pretty much rod-wise, what sort of rod would you take down?
So for that purpose, ideally, I would say something like anywhere between a 3 to 5 ounce and a 4 to 6 ounce. I think the main reason why you might go up to something like a 4 to 6 is if you do need a slightly further throw
with a bit of a heavier
sinker, or if you've got a little bit more current and you just need to try and keep your bait in one place.
So we're pretty much looking at your standard setup you would be using to target cob or a pig nose off the beach.
Yes.
So pretty much that sort of tackle. 3 to 5 ounce, 4 to 6 ounce, 10,000 to 14,000 size reel. Ideal. You can use bigger reels, guys. I'm just saying the ideal setups for fishing with them. Then, Jared, braid-wise, what sort of a breaking strain? We're not going to talk makes and models and things like that. What sort of breaking strain are you looking at for your lessers and your...
I'd look in general at good quality 30-pound braid is more than sufficient for what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, so I agree with you. 20 or 30 pound. I even got on 20 pound. I'd say stick to 30 pound. Until you get a bit more experience, you can start fishing 30 pound, 20 pound. If a bigger fish does pick you up, you got to play it right on that lighter braid.
Yeah, you got to know what you're doing with it.
Okay, so we've got our rod out the way, we've got our braid out the way, reel size out the way, 10 to 14,000. I think more than adequate for it. Braided leader, I like to stay as light as possible. 80 pound, even down to 60 pounds sometimes in very clear conditions. 60 pound, 80 pound, 100 pound. Try to stick to I know it sounds weird. I know JDB, we're not going to go into makes. JDB make a camo braid, but your other braided leader manufacturers out there, try something. You are fishing with sand normally for your lesser spot, your lessers and your blue rays. So stick to something with a nice natural color, a nice golden color or yellow color that matches the sand.
Yes.
Just if the fish are a bit skittish, it's just going to blend in a bit better. I know all the manufacturers pretty much have a a goldie or like a sandy color braid
Yes.
out there. So that gets that out the way. Then when it comes to leader offset, I like running either 0.6 or 0.7. If there is chances of a bigger fish being around, I might go up to 0.8. Okay, so normally my hook snoot 0.7, more than adequate for your smaller.
Yeah, fish around the
flatfish.
0.7 as well.
So there we got the Fishman. I know we can talk brands, but one thing I do like about the Fishman is it's got that same stiffness, you can call it, as what a fluorocarbon does. You know what I mean? A lot of your other lines out there, for me, the stiffer your leader line is, the better. You're going to get better movement of under the water and things like that, a bit more of a natural movement. That's why I really enjoy the Fishman. It gives you that stiffer appearance, which fluorocarbon does, if you can't afford or fish fluorocarbon. I know a lot of us don't want to throw fluorocarbon every day. It's quite pricey to fish with.
Yeah.
And if the water is not crystal clear, there's no reason to be fishing fluorocarbon when you can fishing Fishman with the same sort of stiffness.
Definitely.
But for those guys who can afford and do have the budget for fluorocarbon or are fishing crystal conditions, I would really suggest get fluorocarbon. It's going to make a difference to your.
Yeah, it sinks. As Dean said.
Yeah, totally invisible underwater.
Yeah, invisible underwater, and because of the abrasion resistance that the fluorocarbon has, you can scale down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Especially as you said, if the fish are feeding a bit shy, you can scale down on the diameter of the hook trace that you're using because of the abrasion resistance.
Okay, so now when it comes to, I know it's no secret, guys. Everyone knows you're fishing for flatfish, as most of the league guys do. You're going to be fishing a double hook trace.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like to fish a 4 and a 5er. I think Jared fishes exactly the same as me.
Yeah.
Or a 5 and a 6er, depending on the size of the fish around. Inline circles for me, the only way I fish for them. I know some guys do like the J hooks.
Or offset circles.
Offset
but
circles.
I fish it inline as well.
Inline as well. So good quality. 4.0, I know those are some brands we've got out there. Doesn't matter on the brand, whatever brand you prefer. 4 or 5er is good. And another thing I can suggest is keep your rest of your terminal tackle as small as possible. I see a lot of guys putting massive big swivels on. You're only fishing 30-pound braid, 40-pound braid. You don't need a 1.0 swivel for that sort of braid.
No.
You go down to, I like fishing a number 4. That's the size swivel I'd pretty much use. Keep the terminal tackle as small as possible. I personally don't put any sort of beads or anything on there. I'm not worried about color attractants. As less swivels as you can, and as less. So it's just pretty much line swivel hook. That's pretty much it.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to floats and dangles, do you fish floats and dangles for your flatfish?
So I think it can be a 50-50. I've chatted to some of the guys in the past, and they have used dangles with float.
Yeah.
But generally, what we fish on our side of the coast, if you're going to be using a dangle, you'll be using a Dacron dangle with either a loop on it with a piece of super glue just to keep it stiffer.
That's exactly what I was going to.
Or what I do sometimes, I don't mind it. I have had success on it before. Yeah. I'll just put a small split ring on it.
Yeah.
You don't always need the dangle. As Dean said, it depends on the formation.
And the distance you need to get on your cast.
Yeah. So sometimes, like the main time you'll see the guys using a dangle is on the bottom hook when throwing the double hook trace, just because you can't always get the distance that you might get with your single hook.
But also, I prefer not to fish dangles. If I am fishing a dangle, like Jared said, a piece of Dacron with a super glue loop on the bottom.
Yeah.
The way forward, I want no metal in my bait when it comes to for flatfish. That's just me personally. Some other guys might fish metal and they might outfish me, but that's just the way I do it. And I prefer not to put a dangle on, even if I move my bait sort of to the back end of the hook and just clip my sinker straight onto the hook, which also works well. Okay, that pretty much gets our smaller flatfish out the way. Your as I say, your lessers and your blue rays and things like that. But then there are times there might be some big eagles around. You've got some smaller diamonds around. The duckbill, which I think is the most phenomenal of all the flatfish to catch. The real Formula One of the sea.
Yeah.
So we're going to beef up our tackle here. But so then we're starting to look at bigger size reels with a bit more line lay. Holding, I think 18,000, even a 14,000 can be okay. If you're running 30-pound or 14,000 is fine. You can have about 600-700 meters on 30-pound. I know a lot of the guys that are fishing for duckbills, especially down in the Southern Cape, they're using 30-pound, but they're putting like 600-700 meters of 30-pound on, so that fish can run a long way.
Yes.
I'd suggest 18,000, 30 to 40-pound braid, up to 50-pound if you want.
Yeah, I think it depends largely on sort of the structure in which you're fishing, because sometimes you're going to be fishing onto some form of a sandbank, but there might be broken reef.
Some scattered reef around, which duckbills do enjoy. They do enjoy a bit of reef stuff like that, because they do eat crustaceans and shellfish and stuff like that. Or you might have nice long flat piece of sand with a big reef out of the back. A lot of guys, what they do is they pick you up and they run you straight over that reef, and that's the end of it.
Yes.
So you can beef up your tackle. I suggest beefing up your tackle. Braided leader, I like running anything between 120 to 150 pound. So a bit more than your 60 and 100 pound.
Yes.
That's personally what I like running. What sort of hook snoot and stuff do you suggest?
Look, I would generally go something like, because we're stepping it up a bit, I'd go either a 0.8 or a 0.9.
I agree with you there.
Also, that being said, you are targeting your larger range of flatfish, or your medium to larger range. So sometimes I will also throw a bite trace, which is basically a short piece of wire connected to nylon. It just gives you a little bit more protection. Sometimes you might get the odd grey shark
coming around,
and he might pick you up and actually drop the bait, and he hasn't committed to it, and then you get that flat fish that comes past and your trace is damaged, and you get cut off.
It's exactly what happened to me last Friday night. We went down fishing for flatfish. Grey shark picked me up. Not a massive, not 50 kilo grey, but not a 5 kilo grey. I thought it was a flatfish, good flatfish to start, but about 10 seconds in, I realized it wasn't a flatfish, and we were swimming cross current horizontally down the beach. I was chasing it down the beach, ended up biting me off for about 3 minutes. So theoretically, I probably should have had that bite trace on, but I didn't. So braided leader out the way. Hook choice, I'd say anywhere from a 6-0 up to a 9-0, all depending on the size of the bait you're fishing.
Yes.
And what sort of bait you're fishing. Swivel size, you can step up a bit there. I think it's number 1 or number 2 size swivel. It'll give you all the protection in the world. Also, don't overstep the size of your swivels.
Yeah.
So that pretty much gets our eagles, duck bulls, your bigger eagles, duck bulls, and diamonds out the way. Moving on to, I think, the big guns. Now you're going to really, like, this is where you really need to, listen, I'm going out to target the black ray, and that's what I'm fishing for. I'm going out to target spear nose, and that's what I'm fishing for.
Yeah.
So you're really going to bring it's pretty much the equivalent of your shark, your heavy shark fishing.
Yeah, like your bronzy tackle.
Yeah, it's really your top end stuff. So you're going to be fishing, braid wise, you're going to be fishing anything from 50 pound up to 80 pound, depending on the style of type of fishing you're doing. Braided leader, I'm talking 150 to 220 pound type of stuff, depending on the conditions where you're fishing.
Yes.
Reel size, I suggest 18,000 as a minimum, up to 25,000 if possible.
Yeah.
Hook snoot, 0.9, 1 mil. Those fish have really rough, especially your thorn tails and things like that. They have really, their tails are like full of thorns, as the name suggests. Yeah. So you need some really, really abrasive stuff. Hook size, Jared, what do you suggest for this?
Going on to a hook size, I would say depending on the size bait you're going to throw and the thickness of hook. So if you're going to be throwing maybe a smaller bait to get the distance, you could fish a decent quality 9-0 or 10-0. But if you're going to be throwing quite a big, soft, mushy bait, which is what your black rays and your spear noses generally prefer, I would say even up to a 14-0, that would be more than sufficient. We are generally speaking circles. And then also just going back, maybe it's just the way I fish. When I target those bigger flatfish, I don't use mono. I actually use
full metal jacket.
A full metal
which
jacket.
Is 100% fine.
So I have had a issue once in the past fishing Carmouth where I hooked quite a nice flatfish in heavy structure. And I think if I had been fishing a normal, even a 1 mil mono, I would have been cut off. So when I generally target flatfish, I go over to a full metal jacket.
100%. Especially those bigger fish when you're going to be fighting them for an hour plus.
Yeah.
They're going to be chafing your leader to pieces.
To pieces.
Yeah, so when it comes to, I think you want the bigger fish, you want a good thick gauge hook. Your Trident Kongs comes to mind. But something nice bigger, your BKK monster circles, you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on that fish. Especially if you are fishing 65, 80 pound or 100 pound braid, you definitely want that thicker gauge.
Yes.
If you are fishing 50, 65, your normal inline circles, I think, are fine. I like to step up anything from 65 pound braid upwards. I want to be fishing a beefed up hook.
Yeah.
For the amount of pressure you're going to be putting on that
something that you don't risk opening, as Dean said, because a lot of the times if you hook these bigger flatfish, if you give them a chance to either take off in the current, they're going to use the current against you.
You have to stop him dead in his tracks.
Yeah. Or they might sit and stay on the bottom, and those big black rays, they become like a bath plug. If they sit, you could hang on to that
Yeah.
fish for an hour before moving.
So when
them.
you get that fish lifted, you must keep him off the bottom.
Yes.
So now when it comes to bait, Jared, I know we chatted about all the different flatfish, but they all have one thing in common: soft, mushy baits. I
Yeah.
think all of the flatfish you mentioned now, soft, mushy baits, except maybe the big duckbill. He doesn't mind a bit of a cockle or a bit of a whatever else is going there, octopus leg and things like that.
Yeah.
But your lessers, your Blu-rays, big, soft, mushy bait, take all the bones out your bait, no gill plates. I know guys do catch big black rays with heads and stuff sometimes, but I think nice yellowtail fillet, nice big soft, nice ball-shaped baits, depending on the species you're targeting.
Yeah.
Take all the bones, scales, fins, everything off your bait. Nice fleshy, smelly, oily baits, I think, are the key. Yes, those baits do come off the hook quite quickly. Don't over-cotton your bait, guys. I promise they're going to drop your bait. They pick up, there's too much cotton on your bait, they're dropping your bait. There's a little bit of cotton as possible. Layer your baits up so when the speckers do come around, they're not just pecking and all your cotton's unraveling and you're losing your whole bait. So make sure you layer your baits in lots of layers, not just one big chunk of meat.
Yeah, and a piece of squid is always good to add as
in
well.
between the layers as well, yeah, just to keep those peckers off. So anyway, guys, I hope that definitely get out there. It is summertime. Definitely go target a flatfish. It can be so much fun. You don't even have to be at the sea. If you go to any estuary at the moment, even if there's knee-deep water running to the river mouth, there will be some sand sharks around.
Yeah.
I walked around the river the other evening, just before dark, looking for mullet, and I was astonished by the amount of sand sharks in that river. I was actually chasing them, trying to catch them. It's impossible. They're so fast. But I think a little rod and a little bit, a pulley there, a little 7-foot rod, you could have some good fun.
One tip before we go, I know, unfortunately, got the bad end of it in our first league of the season. So your lessers aren't going to be giving you any issues. They do not have teeth, so a lesser you're not going to have any problems with. When you're starting to go onto your Blu-rays and your eagles,
your
going up to your duckbills, your thorntails, they do generally have quite a large spark on them.
So some of them have two.
Some of them have two.
Be very careful of that.
They can have quite a long and whippy tail.
Yeah.
I unfortunately did get sparked by a Blu-ray in our last league, and it is a painful experience. So
And it can be a serious experience if you stab in the wrong place.
So one tip, if you can, especially targeting your bigger flatfish like your black rays, some of them do have quite gnarly teeth.
Yeah.
I have seen the guys take quite a decent sized towel with them to the beach.
And they wrap around the tail.
You can wrap that around the tail or even around your hand when trying to grab the flatfish. So watch out for their tails when landing them. Take a decent sized towel or even a glove.
Yeah.
And then also, it is a mistake that unfortunately rookie anglers make. When you are landing any form of flatfish, talking about actual flatfish, not just lessers, but your Blu-rays and your diamonds and your eagles.
Every other species.
Do not grab them in the spiracles. That's the two pieces on top of their head.
Two little dents, you'll see where the air goes through.
That's their breather holes. So you can't grab them there. And also, when trying to unhook them, do not flip them over.
Yeah. So what's quick, just to elaborate on that, flatfish is designed that all its organs are there. When you're turning it over, you're pretty much turning its organs upside down, and they can tear off from where they're attached to. So always keep your flatfish upright. Safest place to grab a flatfish, if you know your flatfish, is in the mouth.
Yes.
In the mouth. But if you don't know your flatfish, don't put your hand in his mouth. There are one or two species out there that do have teeth.
Yeah, the spear nose and the thorntail have got ugly teeth.
So it's going to bite you guys. So get an experienced angler to go with you. If you're in doubt, rather just go and cut the hook off and let the thing go. Try staying forward facing the fish. Make sure you head onto that flatfish the whole time, and you'll be out of its way on its tail. None of them can get its tail in front of its head to spark you. The sparks will only come about halfway up their body. So if you're directly in front of the fish, you're always in the safest spot. And when releasing it, just a suggestion, it happened to me on the weekend. I put a Blu-ray back into the water, knee-deep water. The thing swam off to me, so I turned around and it was angry.
And it swam back at you.
It was coming back at me, doing all sorts of nonsense, wanting to hurt me, guys. I pushed it out the road with my rod. I moved 2 meters to the left. It turned and came back at me again for the second time, so I just walked out the water. So just be careful. It was a male, probably. He was busy in his mating season. He had a bit too much testosterone going, and he wanted to take me on. But anyway, so just a tip for you. It's the first time it's happened in my life before. I was like, what is going on here? But anyway, we had a good laugh about it. The female swam off. We had a bit of a double up. The female swam off. The male was angry. He wanted to box. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode from Dean from Untraceable Fishing.
And Jared from Bullamari Fishing Tackle.
Cheers.
Cheers.